Good morning, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. It's Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, and this is your AM Update.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
The search for missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie enters its 10th day as the ransom deadline passes with no proof of life, and Savannah Guthrie issues a new plea.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions.
Ghislaine Maxwell pleads the fifth in an oversight committee deposition. The Trump administration pushing back on a new report suggesting its immigration crackdown is missing the worst of the worst. And Elon Musk hitting pause on his mission to Mars, shifting SpaceX toward building a lunar city. All that and more coming up in just a moment on your AM Update. If you are looking to make smarter choices for your health this year, consider Riverbend Ranch. Their steaks are not only delicious, they contain real, high-quality protein that helps fuel your body. Beef is a complete protein and contains all 9 essential amino acids that your body needs to function. It also keeps you fuller for longer, reducing cravings and snacking. But here's the key. Not all beef is created equal. The quality of the beef depends entirely on how it's raised and where it comes from. That's where Riverbend Ranch stands apart. For more than 35 years, Riverbend Ranch has been building an elite Black Angus herd, carefully selecting cattle for exceptional flavor and tenderness. All Riverbend Ranch cattle are born and raised right here in the USA. They never use growth hormones or antibiotics, and the beef is processed at the ranch in their award-winning USDA-inspected facility. No shortcuts, no middlemen, just incredible, healthy, and flavorful beef shipped directly to your home. Order today at riverbendranch.com and use the promo code Megyn for $20 off your first order. The search for missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie entering its 10th day with no sign of the missing mother of NBC News host Savannah Guthrie. As of 5 p.m. Mountain Time last night, the alleged kidnapper's deadline to pay $6 million in Bitcoin ransom came and went. Just hours before that deadline, Savannah Guthrie posting a new video on her Instagram account, this one addressing the public instead of the abductor or abductors.
I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt, because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers, and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation.
Many noting a markedly more natural cadence in her latest message, a shift from earlier. The Pima County Sheriff's Office yesterday issuing yet another update without much of an update at all. Journalist Brian Enton reporting the FBI says it is not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and the suspected kidnappers, nor have they identified any suspects or persons of interest at this time. Veteran homicide investigator Paul Cialino telling the New York Post he does not think the ransom notes were legitimate.
I don't think she was kidnapped. We would have heard, listen, there would have been a video, there would have been a photograph, there would have been something, a lock of hair, a drop of blood, something mailed to somebody so they could verify, yes, in fact, these people have my mother. Kidnappers want to get paid quickly. They don't want this thing to linger. If you're negotiating with another drug dealer in South America somewhere, it could go on for a few weeks, a month, until they get bored and decide this is not worth it. And it's either pay up or we're going to kill this person. And it's always a negotiation, right? The first figure they throw out is never what actually gets paid, like any good business deal. There's going to be a negotiation, but it's going to be a fast and hard one. And there's been no negotiations. No one's called up and said, hey, where's my money? That hasn't happened. For the simple reason is nobody's kidnapped her, I don't think. If you're a good kidnapper, you're going to grab the medication on the way out the door because you're going to have to take care of her. You're going to have to keep her alive and healthy, right? So it shows a total lack of planning.
Major questions still remain, including what Nancy's full pacemaker data shows, what proof exists that Nancy did in fact return home on Saturday night, and why investigators returned to daughter Annie's home over the weekend, taking photographs for several hours in the dark of the evening, a location the local sheriff's office said they intended to return to again last night. MK True Crime host Phil Holloway is on the ground for us in Tucson. He'll bring exclusive reporting to the Megyn Kelly Show later this afternoon. Convicted Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell appearing virtually before the House Oversight Committee yesterday for a deposition tied to the committee's bipartisan investigation into the DOJ's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. As expected, Maxwell pleading the fifth, declining to answer any questions. Maxwell currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role in Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse and her own misconduct as well. Here, a moment from the taped deposition.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Maxwell filing a habeas petition challenging her conviction in December, a last-ditch, long-shot legal effort after the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear her appeal in October. Congressman Andy Biggs, Republican from Arizona, and Chairman James Comer yesterday describing Maxwell's deposition to reporters.
The attorney for Ms. Maxwell said that she has no indication and would say that neither Presidents Trump or Clinton are culpable for any wrongdoing. And that's one thing they said in his opening statement to us today.
Just to be clear, what her attorney said, Maxwell didn't say, her attorney said that she would answer questions if she were granted clemency by the President Trump.
Maxwell's attorney, David Oscar Marcus, posting to X, quote, Ms. Maxwell is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump. Only she can provide the complete account. Some may not like what they hear, but the truth matters. Oversight Committee Democrats now blaming President Trump for Maxwell's continued refusal to cooperate. Here, Congressman James Walkinshaw of Virginia, Congressman Suhas Subramanian of Virginia, and Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury of New Mexico.
What we did get was another episode in her long-running campaign for clemency from President Trump. And President Trump could end that today. He could rule out clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster.
Ghislaine Maxwell should have no hope of ever getting out of prison. And so we will continue to call for this president to completely rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell.
She is not being released from jail unless, of course, Donald Trump buys what she's selling. She is exactly where she's supposed to be in terms of her conviction, and she needs to go back to the prison where she belongs.
President Trump aboard Air Force One in November had this to say about a possible pardon.
Have you ruled out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I haven't even thought about it. I haven't thought about it for months. Maybe I haven't thought about it at all. You're just asking me a question, but I don't talk about that. I don't rule it in or out. I don't even think about it.
Maxwell transferred in August to a lower security federal prison camp in Texas, an apparent concession for earlier cooperation in an interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. The Oversight Committee's investigation continues, many depositions set for the coming weeks, including former Victoria's Secret CEO Les Wexner on February 18th. That ought to be a good one. And Hillary and Bill Clinton on February 26th and 27th, respectively. Coming up, the Trump administration responding to a new report suggesting the admin is not, as it claims, targeting the worst of the worst in its immigration crackdown. And Elon Musk's SpaceX mission to Mars delayed as the team shifts its priorities to building a city on the moon. Relief Factor loves hearing from pain-free customers, and they hope they can help you be one of them next. Let me tell you about Bill and his Relief Factor story. Bill says, I've been crawling under sinks and working long hours for decades. My back and my knees took the punishment. I thought pain was just a part of the trade, but Relief Factor surprised me. Within weeks, he writes, I was working without wincing. I could get down on the floor and get back up again without thinking twice, end quote. Yes, Bill knows hard work. He knows pipes, tools, and long days on the job. What he didn't know is how good life can feel when pain stops tagging along. Relief Factor did not change Bill's trade. It changed Bill's future. Relief Factor is 100% drug-free, and it targets the inflammation that causes pain so you can move better, feel better, and enjoy life again. Try the 3-week quick start for just $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Let's see if you're next getting out of pain. The Trump administration sparring with CBS News over the framing of a report on whether ICE is, in fact, targeting the, quote, worst of the worst. CBS News reporting, quote, less than 14% of those arrested by ICE in Trump's first year back in office had violent criminal records, basing its report on an internal DHS memo. The report stating, quote, the internal DHS figures undermine frequent assertions by the Trump administration that its crackdown on illegal immigration is primarily targeting dangerous and violent criminals living in the U.S. illegally, people Mr. Trump and his lieutenants have regularly called the worst of the worst. CBS's immigration correspondent, Camilo Montoya Galvez, digging deeper into the findings.
The internal DHS document that we obtained here at CBS News shows that over the past year, the second Trump administration, specifically ICE, has arrested about 400,000 individuals who are suspected of being in the country illegally. About 40% of those 400,000 immigrants did not have any criminal record here in the U.S., meaning that they were being held solely because of civil immigration violations, like living in the country without permission. About 60% did have some kind of criminal charge or conviction, but the numbers show that most of those criminal offenses were non-violent in nature, and only 14% included violent crimes like murder, homicide, and sexual assault.
According to CBS, 10.9% of those arrested by ICE had assault charges or convictions, with smaller percentages for crimes like homicide and robbery. The Trump administration pushing back hard on CBS's interpretation of those numbers. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin writing on X, quote, drug trafficking, distribution of child pornography, burglary, fraud, DUI, embezzlement, solicitation of a minor, human smuggling are all categorized as non-violent crimes. McLaughlin also writing that about 70% of illegal immigrants arrested under President Trump and Secretary Noem have pending criminal charges or prior convictions. We asked McLaughlin about the discrepancy between her numbers and the alleged memo CBS has in its hands. She told us the department is not familiar with the specific document CBS is referencing, saying it has not been shared with DHS by the news outlet. Fox News reporter Bill Maluzhin adding further context on X, posting, quote, none of Laken Riley, Jocelyn Ngare, and Rachel Morin's illegal alien killers had any violent criminal history beforehand. President Trump getting reelected in 2024 while promising to conduct the largest mass deportation effort in human history following years of an open border under President Joe Biden. NBC News reporting yesterday on a June interview with President Trump's border czar Tom Homan featured in the forthcoming book, Undue Process, the inside story of Trump's mass deportation program. In that interview, Homan stressing the importance of prioritizing criminal offenders, saying, quote, I think the vast majority of the American people think criminal illegal aliens need to leave. And if we stick to that prioritization, I think we keep the faith of the American people, and we've got to do it in a humane manner. Homan arriving in Minnesota last month, effectively replacing Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino, whose more aggressive public-facing enforcement drew backlash and political fallout. Homan now working to increase cooperation with local authorities while emphasizing a continued focus on targeting criminal offenders. President Trump, in an interview with NBC News last week, reflecting on how the fallout from Minnesota is influencing who the administration targets for deportation.
I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals.
SpaceX founder Elon Musk delaying the rocket company's mission to colonize Mars, now focusing on, quote, building a self-growing city on the moon. My goal is to walk more. Musk founding SpaceX back in 2002 with the goal of reducing the cost of space travel and ultimately enabling humans to live on Mars. 8 months ago, Musk announcing plans to launch 5 unmanned ships to Mars as early as this year. Musk previously describing the massive logistical challenge of building a self-sustaining civilization on the red planet during a SpaceX town hall.
We need to get about 1 million tons, is my guess, to the surface of Mars to make a civilization on Mars self-sustaining. Again, to that critical point where if the resupply ships from Earth stop coming for any reason, Mars still succeeds. Mars can still grow. And so you can't be missing anything. You can't be missing even like the equivalent of vitamin C or anything. You've got to have everything you need for Mars to grow. That's essential. So my guess is that's about 1 million tons, but it might be 10 million tons. I hope it's not 100 million tons. That'd be a lot. But we want to try to get to that point and secure the future of civilization as quickly as possible.
On Friday, the Wall Street Journal reporting SpaceX has now told investors it is pivoting, aiming first to establish a city on the moon before we colonize Mars. The move marking a notable reversal. Musk last year calling the moon, quote, a distraction, writing on X, quote, we're going straight to Mars. But in a post Sunday night, Musk now arguing a self-growing moon city could be achieved in under 10 years, compared with more than 20 years for the Mars outpost. From Musk, quote, it is only possible to travel to Mars when the planets align every 26 months, 6-month trip time, whereas we can launch to the moon every 10 days, 2-day trip time. This means we can iterate much faster to complete a moon city than a Mars city. The post ending, quote, SpaceX will also strive to build a Mars city and begin doing so in about 5 to 7 years. But the overriding priority is securing the future of civilization, and the moon is faster. The announcement coming as NASA encourages increased competition between SpaceX and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin to assist NASA as it races to land humans on the moon as early as 2028. Gail King, they need you. The last time man landed on the moon was in 1972. And that'll do it for your AM update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here for the MK Show, live on SiriusXM's The Megyn Kelly Channel, 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms.